Yunsu dared Leo to say that again, and before Leo could explain, a punch landed squarely on his face. When he woke up, he was in a different room with Yunsu. Leo tried to joke around, saying they shared a bond, but Yunsu didn't even react. Instead, Yunsu calmly offered him some tea. However, the look on his face was so suspicious that Leo immediately poured the tea onto the floor instead of drinking it. Ignoring this, Leo repeated his request for Yunsu to meet Han Chaya. Yunsu flatly refused, stating that he had erased all of her memories. At this, Leo became visibly irritated, calling him an idiot and a fool, but Yunsu simply responded that he wasn't interested in her anymore, while discreetly covering a knife with his own blood. Leo then revealed that Chaya knew how to hurt father. Noticing Yunsu's surprise, Leo smirked and mockingly remarked that Yunsu and Chaya really didn't trust each other. He continued, pointing out that Yunsu also had no idea how Gurim was doing. Yunsu, unfazed, replied that he was sure Gurim was doing fine, and then called Leo shameless for daring to show up in front of him. Leo scoffed and explained that Yunsu could simply bring back Chea's memories since they weren't actually erased, just suppressed by hallucinations. If they did that, they could get the information they needed about father. And in return, Leo would help Yunsu get Gurim. Leo didn't even get to finish his sentence before Yunsu grabbed his face and pinned him down onto the floor. Pressing the blood-stained knife against Leo, Yunsu revealed that the real reason he had been causing a scene at the Ho every day was to lure Leo out. Leo, struggling beneath him, told Yunsu not to put all the blame on him, since Han Chaya was the one who left on her own. At those words, Yunsu threw the knife aside, saying that none of it mattered anymore. Then, stepping back, he coldly told Leo to get lost and never touch anything again. Meanwhile, in another location, Gurim attacked a man before turning to father and reporting that the experiment had failed once again. Gurim's shirt was covered in blood, and he looked depressed as he walked back after the experiment. He seemed troubled by what he had just done with his own hands. Meanwhile, Rose was on the phone with Leo. As Gurim walked in, Leo asked if she had told him that Yunsu was still alive. She replied that she couldn't do that right now, as both of them could be in danger. After the call, Rose turned to Gurim and asked if he was okay and how the experiment had gone. Gurim told her that this time the subject was a human, but he had been asleep for most of it. When she asked what had happened to the human, he simply responded that he had ended him. The smile on Gurim's face as he said this unsettled Rose. Then, he suddenly asked if she had been talking to Leo and whether they were close. Rose replied that they were like siblings. That night, Gurim was as downhearted as usual. Then he remembered what Rose had said earlier. In the middle of the night, he went into her room, surprising her. He told her that he couldn't sleep and asked her to hold him. On the other side, Chea was feeling bored now that she was no longer working. She wondered if she should meet someone, and her dream from before popped into her mind. Embarrassed, she wondered if she was so lonely that she had such a dream. Suddenly, something caught her attention, and she stopped her car immediately. It was the cathedral. She had found it by chance. Seeing how she always goes to the cathedral without hesitation, it was clear that she and Yunsu were truly tangled up and bound to each other. As soon as she entered, all the ladies surrounded her, exclaiming that it had been so long since they had last seen her. Then, they asked if she was married and on her honeymoon with Park Yunsu. Chaya was confused by their questions, and seeing her reaction, they all assumed that she and Yunsu had already broken up. So, they took her with them, reassuring her that everything was going to be fine and that they would help her find young bachelors. They introduced her to a man named Gemino, but both of them couldn't have been more uninterested. As she sat there, she wondered why everyone kept mentioning Park Yunsu and who he even was. Meanwhile, lying in his bed, Yunsu recalled Leo telling him that Gurim thinks he is dead. He lost it when he heard it, and that he wasn't the same as before. Before anything happened, Leo had continued, "Shouldn't they save him?" Back in the church, Chaya and Jamino started talking about a game she was playing. The ladies at the back were also gossiping about them. Just then, Park Yunsu walked in. He saw the two of them having a conversation and silently took a seat just behind them, staring at them.